Altogether, 2 years, 3 months, and 3 shelters.
That's how long Cathleen Murphy was homeless.
In spite of my, all my education and background and intelligence, it just doesn't matter. I was not equipped to deal with homelessness.
Kathleen was a working professional and had just been kicked out of a 4-bedroom house she'd been renting when the other shoe dropped.
I walked in there one day, it was probably around Thanksgiving by then, and we had to be out around Christmas time. And so just that very day I walked in and they said, "I'm sorry, we don't need you anymore." And I said, "What do you mean? I have another year in my contract." They said, "Well, we don't have enough work for you."
Without an income or a place to live, Kathleen had to make some difficult decisions.
I started calling shelters. And the problem with shelters, people think, first of all, there's not enough beds out there, but just because the bed's empty doesn't mean you can have it. And I found out that, if you have a son that's over 10, which I had several, most shelters won't take you.
Kathleen split her kids up and had them stay with friends and relatives while she took to living in the streets.
I ended up in my car, I fortunately had a minivan. You can't make a rational decision when you're in that deep of a crisis. I was losing my kids, I lost my job, I was losing my home. You can't you don't even know what your real options are. I didn't want to be on the street with my kids. When they took custody of my kids when I was homeless, the court took custody of them, I went to the court, and the public defenders there, they were awesome. They were so helpful and so kind. And the public defender said to me, "You realize it's not against the law to be homeless, and they can't legally take your children." And I said, "I know, but I can't offer my kids anything else right now, and I just want them to be safe." So I could have fought that, but what would I have done with them? I just couldn't. I couldn't take them on the street with me. It was just, but it's serious. People do lose their kids because they're homeless. It's not, there's no law that says you can lose your kids. It's just, they just take them.
While her family offered to help, Kathleen did not want to be a burden on them and was able to find a place to live at the Lighthouse Church in Costa Mesa. Then she started looking for work.
I probably could have gone to Walmart or McDonald's, but there's always this thing in your mind that tells you, if I'm working 8 to 10 hours a day at McDonald's, how am I going to find a job that will let me get my kids back? So you're sort of walking this tightrope between how little can I survive on while I'm full-time looking for a job.
Now Kathleen works as a program development director for American Family Housing, which provides housing for homeless and low-income families.
They don't realize how far they've fallen. They don't realize there's a better life. It's that hopelessness.
She was able to get her kids back and enrolled them at the Project Hope School in Orange. The school helped her so much that she became president of its foundation.
The school was just a lifesaver for me. They have after-school childcare, they helped us with clothing, with food, and I knew that no matter where I moved, they would help me get my kids to school.
And she has advice for those facing similar problems.
2 things you gotta do. You gotta keep your identity separate from your circumstances. You can be without a home, but don't become a homeless person, because once you do that, you lose your hope. And hope is the most important thing you have. If you ever own that identity as a homeless person, it's pretty much over for you.
To help the homeless, go to www.211oc.org. Mark Eades reporting for OCRegister.com.